My sophomore year, it was a course called Molecular and Agricultural Biotechnology. And one of the projects was we had to design a lesson and go teach. I remember realizing how difficult it was, and the teacher of the class took off his shoes and he was like, "You should walk a mile in my shoes." And I was like, I think I'm kind of interested in walking a mile in your shoes. So I have that very specific memory that plays back in my head when I think about why I got into this and stuff like that. I am Joe Wagner, or Mr. Wagner to many here. This is my 6th year of teaching at Blair, but 7th year of affiliation with Blair, because last year I spent the year at the Harvard Graduate School of Education in Cambridge, Mass, getting my master's in ed in mind, brain, and education. I've always liked teaching and I've always liked biology, but I don't necessarily think it's the only thing I could be doing in life, and I don't for sure know it's the thing I'm best at. I think when I got here, I was always trying to figure out what my next educational step would be. I was consumed by this idea of how do you actually measure good practice in teaching? How do you measure impact in teaching? How do we make that sort of scientific? And then eventually, I guess I landed my way to the webpage of this mind, brain, education program, which seemed to align most closely with what I wanted in next steps for education for myself, to help me do this better, to help me understand what I do better. I would say one of the most powerful classes that I took was in emotion in teaching and learning. What I took with me was that making people feel either some level of confused, surprised, frustrated, all of these things. If you feel that confusion, get around it and then reflect on that. Studies have shown that that's better for learning than not having felt that negative emotion in the first place. Understanding hey, I've been here before, I've gotten through things. It's really going through that self-talk of not forcing myself to be an expert. Really helps me get rid of my own imposter syndrome too. It's because I find that that's a big thing. It's oh, you don't understand this, you don't belong here. No, absolutely, you do belong here. You're just learning along with the rest of the people. They're probably also experiencing confusion, surprise, whatever in response to this. I wound up leaving college with zero direction and didn't really know what I was gonna do. But I was literally packed in the car, leaving Hamilton, going home for the first time, moving back, and all my stuff's in the car. I still remember this. And I'm sitting in the back, and my parents are driving because I didn't have a car at the time. And I got a text from my coach saying that there's an opening at this school called Blair Academy, and he was like, they need science and baseball, and I can't think of anyone better for that. So that was one of the only jobs I interviewed at, and I got this job and I've been here ever since.